Imagine this, you're out in your quiet suburban yard. Sparks flying from your welder as you put the finishing touches on a gate that's more than metal. It's your boundary, your piece. Then, bam! The sickening screech of steel on stone shatters the air. And your $1,000 masterpiece is reduced to twisted scrap by some idiot in a backhoe who acts like he's parking at a drive-thru. And when you demand answers, he points to the queen bee of the neighborhood HOA, that self-appointed guardian of community standards, who's about to learn that messing with the wrong guy's property is the fastest way to bury her own empire. It all started in the sleepy outskirts of Milford, Virginia, where the houses sat like perfectly manicured dolls on a shelf, pastel siding, identical lawns mowed to military precision, and those little solar lights lining every driveway like they're guarding state secrets. But beneath the facade of suburban bliss lurked the iron fist of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, ruled by none other than Vivian Hargrove, the ultimate Karen incarnate. Mid-50s, with hair shellacked into a bob that could deflect bullets, Vivian strutted around like she owned not just the neighborhood, but the moral high ground of the entire county. Community harmony, she'd coo at meetings, her voice dripping with that fake sweet venom, while enforcing rules so nitpicky they made the IRS look laid back. No visible trash cans after 8 a.m. Fences no taller than 4 feet. And God forbid your mailbox leaned a degree off plumb. She'd slap you with a fine faster than you could say violation notice. Me? I'm Elias Thorne, a quiet mechanic by day, tinkering in my garage on the edge of town. I'd bought my plot 5 years back, a modest ranch house on a hill, with a stretch of woods and a gravel road snaking through it that I'd turned into my sanctuary. Folks whispered about me in Willow Creek, that loner on the hill, probably hiding something shady. Rumors flew like mosquitoes in summer, claims I was running an illegal chop shop, or worse, some backwoods cult. All because I kept to myself, didn't attend their potlucks, and had the audacity to let my grass grow a half-inch too long once. I heard the gossip through the grapevine, the way Vivian's cronies would cluck their tongues at the grocery store. Elias Thorne? Oh, he's trouble. Doesn't respect the rules. But I stayed silent, watching from afar, filing away every petty jab like ammunition in a locked safe. Patience was my weapon. I knew my land deeds inside out, and I wasn't about to fire blindly. That fateful Tuesday morning, the air was crisp with the scent of fresh-cut lumber as I welded the last hinge on my new iron gate. It wasn't flashy, just sturdy black bars with a simple latch, meant to keep deer out and nosy neighbors at bay. I poured sweat into it over the weekend, forging the pieces myself in my shop. The gate marked the start of my private drive, the one that wound up from the county road, past my house, and, unbeknownst to most, served as the sole access to Willow Creek's gated paradise. Yeah, that road, mine. Bought fair and square when the old timber company divvied up the parcels. No easements, no shared rights. But Vivian, she thought rules bent for her. The crunch hit like a thunderclap. I ripped off my goggles, heart pounding, and sprinted around the bend. There sat my gate, crumpled like a beer can under a boot, with a yellow backhoe idling smugly beside it, its bucket dripping dirt. The operator, a burly guy in a hard hat and neon vest, climbed down casually, chewing gum like he'd just parallel parked. "Hey, what in God's name did you do?" I barked, my voice steady but edged with fire. He shrugged, not even glancing at the wreckage. "Just doing the job, buddy." HOA Pres said this was the access point for the new drainage ditch. Gotta fix that flooding before it ruins the clubhouse lawn. HOA? What HOA? This is my land. You just demolished my property. He pointed lazily toward the manicured enclave down the hill, where Willow Creek's cookie-cutter mansions gleamed under the sun. Talk to Vivian Hargrove. She's the one with the map. Said there's an old easement right through here. Easement my ass, I own every inch. Get that machine off my drive before I call the cops. The guy blinked, unfazed. Look, man, I get paid by the hour. You got beef? Take it to her. He hopped back in, revved the engine, and lumbered away, leaving tire tracks gouged into my gravel like fresh scars. I stood there, fumes rising, but I didn't explode. No, I simmered. This wasn't just about a gate. It was the spark to a powder keg Vivian had been stacking for years. Whispers about me being uncooperative had escalated lately. Anonymous notes in my mailbox warning I'd regret isolating myself. But I knew the truth. Vivian feared anyone outside her control, especially someone like me who didn't bow to her HOA throne. I dusted off my hands, snapped photos of the damage, and headed inside to brew coffee. Time to plan. By afternoon, I'd cooled enough to drive down to Willow Creek's community center, a pretentious clubhouse with marble floors and a fountain that probably cost more than my truck. I parked outside their gilded gates, ignoring the residents-only sign, and strode in like I belonged. Vivian was there, perched behind a desk like a vulture on a branch, barking into her phone. No, Margaret. The petunias must be pink. Any other color disrupts the aesthetic harmony. Fix it or face a citation. Vivian Hargrove? I said, my tone flat as asphalt. She swiveled slowly, eyeing me up and down like I tracked manure across her kingdom. Yes? And you are? Elias Thorne. Your crew just turned my gate into modern art with a backhoe. They claimed you green-lit it for some easement. Her lips curled into that patented tight smile. The one that screamed, I'm superior, peasant. Ah, Mr. Thorne. We've been reviewing old county maps. That strip of land appears to fall under a utility easement from the 70s. We needed access for essential maintenance, preventing floods that could affect the entire community. You understand, cooperation is key. There's no easement. I have the deeds. You trespassed and destroyed my property. You owe me $1,000 for the gate, and stay the hell off my land. She sniffed, adjusting her pearl necklace. Well, if your property weren't so unkempt, perhaps we wouldn't have mistaken it for public access. It looks rather abandoned, don't you think? I'll mention it at the next board meeting. We'll vote on compensation if the budget allows. Vote? This isn't a democracy for damages. Pay up, or I'll sue. Oh, Mr. Thorne. She sighed, turning back to her papers with exaggerated dismissal. Such hostility. You really should embrace community spirit. It's what makes Willow Creek special. Try not to be so reclusive. Her words hung like a veiled threat, laced with that mawkish concern that hid her claws. I left without another word, but inside, gears turned. Vivian thought she could bulldoze me like my gate, spreading rumors to isolate me further, painting me as the neighborhood pariah. But she didn't know the half of it. That unkempt road she coveted? It was the lifeline to her precious development. The only way in or out. And she had no clue it was mine. Not yet. Over the next 48 hours, I dove into my files like a detective on a cold case. Deeds from the 60s, surveys crisp as the day they were stamped. Old Mill Road, my road, had been a logging path, sold off in chunks. Mine included the full artery from the highway to Willow Creek's backdoor. No easements logged, no public rights. Clean title. But to armor up, I visited my attorney, Lena Voss, a sharp-witted land expert with a no-nonsense bob and glasses that could cut glass. She scanned the docs, chuckling darkly. Elias, you've got a gold mine here. If Vivian's as power-hungry as you say, this'll pop her ego like a balloon. Armed with notarized notices, I hired a fencing team at dawn. Build it tough, I told the foreman, handing over blueprints for steel barriers, bollards that rose like sentinels, and a keypad lock. By evening, the framework stood. Come morning, chaos bloomed. Cars lined up at the entrance, horns blaring in feudal symphony. I sipped coffee from my porch, watching the show. A suit in his 40s stormed up to the keypad, poking it like it owed him money. What the hell? This road's blocked. Who did this? I ambled over, casual as a Sunday stroll. Morning. That's my gate. Private property. You're trespassing. You can't trap us. We live here, emergency vehicles, deliveries. Everything comes this way. Take it to your HOA queen. Vivian authorized that backhoe stunt on my land. This is the receipt. His face paled. The backhoe? That was board business. Not us residents. Then vote her out. Meeting's your arena. He huffed off, phone in hand, dialing lawyers or maybe Vivian herself. By noon, whispers rippled through Willow Creek, texts flying, group chats exploding. That Thorne guy's gone rogue, they'd say, but I stayed silent, letting the pressure build. Vivian's machine was cracking, her harmony facade splintering under the weight of her own absurdity. The emergency board meeting convened that evening. I spotted the luxury SUVs filing in from my vantage point. An hour later, Vivian's pristine BMW purred up my drive, her heels clicking like accusations on gravel. She emerged, face pinched tighter than a lemon rind. Mr. Thorne, this is unacceptable. You're endangering lives, blocking access like some vigilante. I sent the notice yesterday. Private road. Your crew wrecked my gate. This is consequence 101. But public safety. What if there's a fire? I've called the fire marshal. They're appalled. Checked with them myself. Private development means HOA handles alternates. Not my circus. She crossed her arms, voice rising in that femoral pitch. This is spiteful extortion. We need that road for the greater good. No. Vivian, I said evenly, savoring her twitch. This is what happens when you trample boundaries. Want access? Lease it. But it'll cost dearly. Her eyes narrowed to slits. You'll regret this. We have rules for a reason. She spun on her heel, but not before I caught the flicker of fear. The queen was wobbling. Next day, a cease and desist landed via courier, claiming I obstructed a public thoroughfare. Laughable. Lena Voss shredded it over coffee. Bluff City. Let's counterpunch. We filed for damages, trespass, and an injunction halting their projects reliant on my road. Aggressive? Damn right. Vivian's empire of petty fines and power plays was about to face real accountability. But she didn't fold easy. 3 days in, a tip came from a neighbor across the ridge, Old Man Harlan, a beekeeper with eyes like hawks. Saw lights last night behind their pond. Digging sneaky-like through the wildlife preserve. I grabbed my drone at dusk, flew it low. Bingo, tracks, excavators, a fresh trench slicing protected forest. High-def video captured it all, timestamps, chords. Dawn broke. I emailed it to zoning and environmental folks. 24 hours later, the site swarmed with officials, yellow tape fluttering like party streamers. The HOA's drainage permit was a lie location fudge to hide the illegal road punch. An inspector met me, fuming, "This ain't erosion control. It's felony habitat destruction. They'll pay." Vivian's board went radio silent. No more bluster. Then, a knock. Not Vivian, but resident Marcus Hale, a mild-mannered accountant in khakis, looking sheepish. "Elias? Us residents. We want to talk." Not the board. We had no idea about this mess. I ushered him in. "They said the road was county-owned," he confessed, staring at my parcel map. "Lies." We trusted Vivian's community-first spiel. "Dissolve the board," I advised. "Supermajority vote." "Doable. We're petitioning." "Will you speak at our town hall?" "Explain." "Count me in." That Friday, I faced 40 residents in the clubhouse, laying out the timeline: gate smash, road ownership, illegal dig. Gasps echoed as docs projected. "Vivian's rules are her shield," I said. But truth cuts deeper. By night's end, signatures piled up. Vivian, absent. The board dissolved weeks later, a new committee rising, transparent. No frills. County charged Vivian and cronies with permit fraud and eco-damage. Heavy fines, 5-year bans from leadership. My road, gated still, but leased modestly to a scholarship fund. I reforged the gate stronger, etching "Boundaries Matter" atop. Seeing Vivian post-dissolution, in the courthouse lobby, knuckles white as she awaited her eco-hearing, priceless. She avoided my gaze, staring floorward like it betrayed her. I testified factually on the trench, unpermitted havoc, habitat ruin. But the bombshell? Under that trench, a buried vault, $250,000 in cash, ledgers of off-books bribes to inspectors, contractors. DA piled on fraud, evasion, conspiracy. Vivian, centerpiece of the rot. Post-hearing, Lena met me outside. Assets frozen. Flight risk. I nodded. Rules optional for her. Till now. New committee audited everything. Inflated contracts to Vivian's kin. Ghost vendors. A landscaping scam bilked $90,000 for work at a defunct address. Security upgrades funneled $60,000 to her unlicensed nephew. Marcus, now interim chair, hosted a bank meet. Manager scowled at statements. Forged SIGs. Unmatched withdrawals. We flagged accounts. Froze funds. Rot everywhere, Marcus sighed. Rename the road? Go ahead, I said. But leave my stretch. Months blurred. Audits. Courts. Cleanups. Neighbors dropped pies. Thanks. One brought kids to my forge. I taught basics. Summer brought DA call. Vivian pled to misappropriation, probation, restitution. Others jailed 18 to 36 months. Seized cash, rebated dues, 2 free years. At the gathering, I spoke. You own your neighborhood now. Marcus aside, found an old backup trail, overgrown. Clearing it legally. Smart. Keep it clean. That night, I walked the road, bollards humming. Peaceful. Gate clicked shut, secrets exposed. Yet deeper shadows lingered. Not from suits, from a teen. Fixing my fence. A kid biked up. Owen, 17. Robotics hoodie, chest cam. Elias Thorne? School project on land rights. Mom suggested you. Cam off. He spilled. Folder of archived plats. Developer mismatch Everett Langley. Dead. Linked to shell core funneled HOA cache. Mom was treasurer. Never saw reports. I called Lena. Forensics unearthed $180,000 siphoned. Layered under $10,000 to dodge feds. Funds to a PAC bribing ex-commissioners. State-rated HOA office. Files. Drives. Safe hauled. Vivian arrested, no plea. RICO, laundering. Fraud. Racketeering. Owen testified. Judge praising his grit. Jury convicted fast. Vivian 9 years. No parole 6. Others 7. 5. Post-verdict. Owen paced courthouse. Didn't expect this depth. You nailed it, I said. Neighborhood ditched HOA for voluntary counsel. No fines. Volunteer maintenance. Term limits. Ethics talks. New chair Carla. Garden install. Water line across your land? Above ground. Sure. Draft agreement. Trust us. Oddly. Yes. Road leased symbolically. $1 per year. Owen graduated. Awarded civics honor. Off to college. Last visit. Plaque for road. His sketch. Gate with justice carves paths. I welded it in summer. Below the first. Victories from vigilance. Questions. Unchecked powers fall. Gate stands. Road mine. Neighborhood theirs. But tell me, in a world of HOA tyrants like Vivian, is blocking a road revenge or rightful justice? Who's the real villain when rules serve the ruler?